We trust that you are well. This evening, we've got Sister Reikantse Manaka, who is a published author and in the children's ministry. So we were supposed to have Sister Manaka a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, but technology was not on our side. This evening, we're going to be talking to her. Now, shortly, we're going to first ask Rev to open for us in prayer, and then I'll introduce her biography, and then we'll give it right over to her to give us her presentation for this evening. As usual, please throw your comments in under there on the comment field, and then when our presenter is through with her session, we will then go through your comments and your questions and give her an opportunity to respond to those. Rev, could you open for us in prayer?
Thank you. Come, let us pray. Msthandaze egameni loyise nelonyana nelomoya ingcwele isewe Nkosi yethu nguYesu Kristu dalo izulu nomhlaba. Wena Thixo unguThixo ngaphandle kwakho asinaye Nkosi omnye uThixo. Lord, we want to thank you today for another day that you have given us, and indeed, Lord, we celebrated your goodness. We are still, God, celebrating your mightiness as we come before your throne this evening. Here, Lord, is your child Mnaka Manaka, who writes, Lord, from her heart, and Lord will be inspired by her work and her writing. Lead us, God, tonight in this session. May the viewers be inspired, young people, emakhaya, basondele Nkosi bazomamela ukuze nabo Nkosi bakhuthazeke. Simema ke Nkosi presence yakho ube nathi somandla kule nkqubo yanamhlanje usikelela usithambisa nqelise sonke ngegama elinamandla elenkosi yethu nguYesu Kristu. Amen.
Amen. So let's just jump into her biography. Sister Reikantse Manaka is a published author of 3 books, and she is currently aged 15. She is a grade 9 learner at Unisi High School in Bloemfontein. She is a member in good standing of the St. Peter's Children's Ministry within this very Bloemfontein circuit. So here and there, if Sister Manaka and I are not audible, it is raining in Bloem, so bear with us. Her reading interest started early when she was about 5 or 6 years old. By the age of 9, when most of us can barely put a coherent sentence together, she had already compiled 10 short stories. They were published into a book as she turned 10, and the book was titled High 10 for Reikantse. She then published her second book that was launched in 2017 as an updated version of her first book. Her third book was published this year in February, and it was entitled A Snake in My School Bag. She's a multi-talented young lady. Apart from reading and writing short stories, she takes part in maths and ESCOM science expos. Reikantse is also a frequent motivational speaker who has been invited in various school platforms, conferences, children's gatherings to motivate others of her peers on the importance of readings and issues around childhood, right? Which include but are not limited to children's rights and responsibilities. She also takes part in annual celebrations such as the World Book Days or the Ina Mandela Days celebrations. Within the MCSA, she has appeared as a guest for a number of events. These include the 2015-2016 introduction to various churches or societies to launch her books and to motivate her peers. In 2016, she was a guest speaker, and she launched the Children's Library within our district, or the Synod, at the Young Women's Manyano Convention. In August of 2017, she was at the Central Region Junior Manyano Mini Convention as a motivational speaker, and she was the one who handed over the memorandum to SAPS based on gender-based violence and child abuse. Furthermore, in 2017, she was a guest speaker at the 13th KNB District Young Women's Manyano Convention on children's issues. Last year, she gave tribute on behalf of children to the former presiding Bishop, Reverend Siwa, and at the former General Secretary, Reverend Morgan's connectional farewell on behalf of children within the church. Also last year, she made a presentation to the new presiding bishop, Reverend Purity Malinga at her induction service, again, on behalf of the children within the church. Reikantse has received 2 awards recently. The first is the Stacey Frew Foundation African Children of the Year Award on Leadership, and that was in 2018. Secondly, in the same year, at her school, she received the Unisi Primary School Mary Prestige Award. Now, this is quite an established young lady. She is used to speaking in platforms. Can we lend her our ears this evening and hear what wisdom she has to share with us? I know that as young people, most of us aspire to read more, to write more, to engage more cognitively and intellectually. Now, let us hear our sibling tell us today about her journey with reading and writing and her experiences this evening. Let us give over to Sister Reikantse Manaka so that we can hear from her. Sister Reikantse, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me start off by saying good evening to our presiding bishop, the MCSA, the Wesley Guild leadership, and the viewers. I greet you all in the name of Jesus Christ. My name is Reikantse Manaka, as Sister Nono has said. And as she was doing the introduction, I was like, oh, wow, that's quite an introduction. And I suppose she spoke half of what I was going to speak about today, but I will just touch it there and there. I have published 3 books. The first one, High 10 for Reikantse. This book was published, as said, in 2015 when I turned 10 years old. Its title was inspired by the amount of stories I have and the age I was turning that year. The book also contains short stories after each story. Short questions after each story, just to see how much you memorized. The second book, High 10 for Reikantse updated version. It is an updated version of the first book, and it also contains the same things as just the first one, just that this time it contains the events I have attended during the period between the first 2 books. My latest book, the third one, is titled A Snake in My School Bag. This book was based on a true story that I heard about. Like said in its title, it's about a snake that entered a schoolboy's bag as this schoolboy was going to school, and it caused chaos at school after assembly. The book also contains facts that can teach you about different species of snakes. With these books, as Ms. Donono has said, I have accomplished so much. I have been invited to schools and churches to motivate young children, especially young girls. I've taken part in the gender-based violence silent march in Kuruman, where I handed over a memorandum on behalf of the Kuruman community to the Kuruman police station. My books have taken part in book fairs such as the South African Book Fair, the London Book Fair in 2018, the Frankfurter Buchmesse in Germany, which is the Frankfurt Book Fair, the Mangaung Book Fair, and many more. I've also been part of campaigns such as Schools Reading Roadshow. I've had radio interviews with radios like Moteo FM, Mosupatsela FM in Botshabelo, City Radio here in Bloemfontein, Lesedi FM, and that's just to name a few. I was invited, as said, to address the KNB Young Women Manyano Convention. I have had newspaper interviews with newspapers such as The Star, Bloem Courant, Daily Sun, and a magazine interview with Move. I also got the honor of bidding farewell to our former presiding bishop, and I also got to welcome the new presiding bishop. Also with that, I also got to present our presiding bishop with the bread and wine at her induction. Last month, I was part of a campaign arranged by the Methodist Church of Southern Africa Union held on Women's Day, and I delivered a speech entitled, An Ideal Home for a Girl Child. Last weekend, I took part in the Virtual Girls Speak Out 2020 International Day of the Girl, in short IDG Summit, which was celebrated globally, which was hosted and held by the United Nations headquarters in New York City. The summit commemorated girls' stories, experiences, creative work activisms to advocate for girls' rights. My video was selected to be part of 1,000 girls whose videos were submitted, and we all got together. They got our videos together and we shared our voices. I started reading from a young age. My parents would read my sister and I fairy tales, and then I started writing in grade 2. At that time, I was just writing for fun. So my teachers approached my parents and told them that I had a talent. The way that my teachers approached them was that during aftercare, daycare, we would write short stories of how a weekend was. And apparently I would write pages full of how my weekend was. And that's how my parents got with my teacher. That's when I also made up with my publisher and published my first book. So when I write from the heart. I create new ideas that I feel that people would love to read, and I think out of the box. Reading is important because it builds your vocabulary, it relieves stress, increases your knowledge, and it helps with communication skills. Reading helps you to grow mentally and emotionally. Books give you opportunities to learn new things and mostly explore new ideas. Charles William Eliot once said, "Books are the quietest and most constant of friends, yet the most accessible and wisest of counselors, and the most patient of teachers." Mark Twain said, "A person who won't read has no advantage over one who can't read." I find these two quotes quite powerful and relating a lot to my speech. So from reading, you can start jotting down your ideas as I started doing. And I started writing. And writing helps to reflect on your life and changes your making. It also helps you to express yourself. Writing for other people helps them to think from another person's perspective. It is said that writing helps you to reflect on your experiences and learn from them. I quote Maya Angelou, "The idea is to write so that people hear it and it slides through the brain and goes straight to the heart." Lastly, I encourage you all to read because a reader is a winner. Once again, I say thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. Ms. Donana, you are muted.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sister Manaka. What wisdom you've shared with us in terms of just the fundamental benefits of reading, opening up our horizons, visiting worlds we've never been to, thinking creatively, emotional expression, psychological expression, you know, and the quotation you talk about that friend and the features of that friend who is a book really resonated, and that hit home. So I'm really glad that I'm here today. So let's jump to some of the comments and some of the questions that our siblings have. Before we go there, I think it is appropriate that I tried to do the whole unit thing as far as I could. So Wesley Gilder say, CM, Math Sock. So I'm gonna be on some One Heart, Alosa to bring about change, just to acknowledge our guests today. So our feedback is quite positive, mostly comments on our group. Molly Momo says, Jesus is Lord. So you are just as inspiring that greatness there. Brother Coco says, wow, what a beautiful biography. I must say, right? Like, I'm intimidated. I'm like, whoa, I'm chilling with great. S. Power Mendu says, it can only be you, God. So a lot of people are seeing the manifestation of God through your life today, which is absolutely beautiful. Kanjilu Paula, I hope I pronounced that right, sends a wave. Hi.
Hi.
McFarlane Manaka sends a Bible and like prayer. Dalita Diteku, wow, God-given talent. Monteng Kobo says, wow, God is good. You go, girl. McFarlane Manaka also says, Nkhono wa bana. So Nkhono san, yeah. And then Molly Momo goes back and says, halala, baby girl. Brothers and sisters, share your comments, share your questions. Let us get inspired today by Sister Manaka. We've got an appointment until 7 o'clock with her. In the meantime, Rev, do you have any questions from your side? Manaka, any questions or comments from your side before we continue with the Facebook page? All right, I've got a question while they're still thinking about it. My question for you is, when is book 4 being published? Do you have an idea for book 4 already? And what is the theme of the book?
I won't say much about book 4 or the books that are to come. I just would say to you that I do have book 4, and yes, it's all done and it's written. It's just that it needs to be published and go through that process. And one of the books that I've written, or rather, the topic that I'm doing is to do with all the different special sites in South Africa, just to teach the young children about South Africa, because I feel that it is important to know more about where you are, to know more about your roots rather, for your foundation, so that you can get to the top. And
yeah, so now you're taking your peers on journeys and trips that they've never been to, but that they can understand where they are better. That is awesome. That is awesome. My second question for you, your books are published. Are they available at the ordinary bookshops, or are they available by special order? If one wants to buy your books, how does one access them?
My books are not available in the ordinary bookshops. They are available through special order. And to reach me, or rather to get the books, you can go through to my father's Facebook page, which is McFarlane Manaka. And you can reach him through that. You can also reach him through his email, which is tebumacmanaka@gmail.com.
Spell that. T-E?
Sorry? Tebo.
B-O,
M-A-C.
M-A-C.
M-A-N-A.
M-A-N-A.
K-A.
K-A.
@gmail.com.
@gmail.com. I'm just adding that onto the comments. So that
the books that are available are the 2 latest ones, the updated version and A Snake in My School Bag, and they each 150 Rand.
Okay, cool. That is good to hear. We've got a question, and now I know it's from your dad. How long does it take to publish or to finish a book? How long does it take to finish a book? So start to finish.
With me, it depends, as I'm a school child, and mostly I would say I write in my free time. So when I have free time, I write. So it depends with that as well, and as well as the publishing process, which I don't know myself. So I would say it takes about a year, 6 months to 8 months, maybe there.
Cool. So it takes 6 months to 8 months. Brothers and sisters, I hope you heard how she started her answer. I am a school child, so priorities. Goals here are not in conflict. There's a goal to be published and to share in ideas, but there's also the goal of excelling at school and the priority of what is at hand. So she balances between what is school, the priority right now, with what is her talent and her gift, and her passion during her spare time. And I think some of us struggle with balancing between our hobbies, our gifts, and our talents with what we need to do in order to do so that we are able to get to where we need to do. Let's go back to Facebook and see if there are any questions or any comments for you from the brothers and sisters there. Come on, Facebook, cooperate. Here we go. All righty. It doesn't look like, oh, here's a shout out. Lishaba and Papa Rupert are watching from Centurion, so they are rooting for you. Yay! Yeah, I think that I have covered all the comments that we have here. I can't see any more comments or questions except tagging. Oh, here's Angela Mariti. Many children today are so into cell phones. What would you say, Reikantse, to them to make them see the importance of reading?
As the comment says, many children are into cell phones. I myself am too, so I'm not going to say I'm not. What I would say is manage your time. Don't plan on being on your phone the whole time, and do things that are going to be cooperative with your time management and stuff, and that are going to help you with your knowledge and stuff. So I would say you should read books either on Google Play Books, and I know there is also another one that I forgot. And if you do have Kindle, use Kindle to read, and rather than just be on social media, use your time properly.
Okay, so Sister Reikantse says technology does not need to be the enemy. You can still do the reading on technology, and you can still balance being on social media with using your time to read and for it to benefit you. Here's another question from Mule Moropa. What, or who rather, is your target group when you write your books?
My target group is mostly from being a toddler to being maybe a tween, 12 years old, because it has pictures inside. I would love to show you. It's got colorful pictures inside. So I feel like those pictures would be more to the young ones, just to give them an idea of what is being said. And it's easy stories, and it could also be used like when in foundation phase, when you start reading. So I'd say it's more of a level 1 reading. So I'll say it is for the target market that I just said.
So your target market is birth to primary school, basically to the end of primary school, right? Pretty,
yes.
Right there. All right. So your question has been answered. Her target market are those until preteen years because of its interactive nature and the pictures that accompany the story being told. All right. Back to Facebook. Let's see if there are any more questions. Nana Greta has a question. For those kids who do not have parents as supportive as yours, who never had the privilege of parents reading fairy tales to them, what encouragement can you give them, Sister Reikantse?
I would say to them that there is family as well. And if you feel like you don't have any loved ones close by, as in family, there are those peers that are actually quite positive and encouraging. I had encouraging friends who were supporting me when I was writing as well. So I'd say if you don't have a supportive family background, check out and be with those who actually care, and writing book clubs as well. They are available, or go to a library, because I know for sure librarians are also quite encouraging. So they would help you with the process of writing and reading as well. So I feel like we shouldn't only just look at the negative part, just embrace your knowledge and look out there and just stay positive, because there is someone out there that actually cares.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess what you were saying is that it takes a village to raise a child, and our resources are not necessarily within the immediate family. There are other avenues and sources around us, parents, other figures who are able to help with encouraging, buffering, from our friends right through to the librarian, to our neighbors. So Mama Greta, I guess to answer you, Sister Reikantse is saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and the village is as wide as it can go. Right. Back to Facebook. Here's another question. Apart from being an author, what do you aspire to be?
I aspire to be a voice to those children who aren't heard. I do motivational speaking as well. I motivate young children, and I believe that I could be a voice to those who aren't heard or those who can't speak up, because I'm quite a brave person, so I am quite aware of those things that are happening in the world. So I would say that, yeah, I am quite an activist for gender-based violence and children's rights. I am quite big on that as well.
Okay, so she's an activist and she's there for motivational speaking. And so she wants to be that person who engages with the community, that person who gets her hands dirty, so solving societal problems and engaging with the ills in society. Let us go back to Facebook. Some more taggings. I see Bridget van der Merwe is here. Hi, Bridget. See more questions. Sometimes Facebook hides them.
I saw a question from Mom Greta on the Zoom.
That's the one that I just read out.
No, she said another one. It popped up, so I'm not. Yes, I didn't read it properly.
Okay, cool. Let me open it. Thank you, Reikantse. I missed it. There we
It's
go.
a pleasure.
Anything you can share that you learned from Speak Out Girls UN?
So from the Speak Out, I learned so much because I know most things from South Africans of what they feel, of what should be done in our country. So with the UN summit that I was part of, I got to learn from other girls across the world, from India, from Australia, all around the world. And I learned that we all together, with all that we said, it was so amazing because we all say different things and it was all put together. And I could see that, oh, wow, we as women actually do have a voice. And when we stick together, we become one powerful source that could actually be so successful. And we should all stick together and be the voice.
You are an activist. I can hear it in your language and in your speech. You're like, I am my voice. Bridget says, hi, I love your program. Well, thank you, Bridget, and thank you for joining us this evening. We've got a question from Chabalala Talakele Noma Kisimosi. And the question is, who inspired you to write? So who's your source of inspiration?
I don't have any source of inspiration. Well, I did at the start with the short stories. I would play with my sister around, and as I said, my parents would do our fairy tales, would read us fairy tales. So with that, and I would play with my sister. So when we were playing, I would write down like what we were busy playing, and then maybe do it in some way that is understandable. And at first, yeah, as I said, my sister, but then I don't really have someone who inspires me to write. I just write from the heart.
Cool. Question from me. Who is your favorite author?
Wow. Yeah, that is something. My favorite author is myself. But then I do read other books. My favorite books are from James Peterson and J.K. Rowling.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. What book are you currently reading that is not yours?
I am currently reading a book that says, The Me I Want to Become. So it's based on a path that God puts you on. And yeah.
Okay, interesting. We've got another question from Mama Greta. What do you do when you're not at school, when you are not writing, and when you're not public speaking? What games do you enjoy? When you on any project, what do you do? So what are your roles and projects, and what do you do for fun outside of the writing, the reading, the public speaking? What do you enjoy playing? And when you're busy with a project, what do you enjoy doing?
I am also in a school choir at school. I also do cheerleading, and recently I was elected into the 2021 schools RCL body. And then I also enjoy painting. I don't know if you can see there at the back. I have other paintings and drawings at the back. Not that I'm really talented in that, it's just I do it for fun. I also enjoy cooking and baking with my little sister.
The one thing I heard there is that the one voice crew is going to be recruiting you very soon. On that stage very soon, just by virtue of being a member of the church choir.
No, the school choir.
By virtue of being a member of the school choir, I think the church is going to be recruiting you for watch the space. Don't say I didn't warn you. That white and that whatever. I warned you. There's a comment to the answer that you gave that says, "Thank you, Reikantse. God bless you abundantly." And then you've got a question from your dad, and I think this is quite an essential question, especially because we're on a church platform for young people. The question your dad is asking after high-turning the MCSA is, what should the church do to encourage reading? In which ways do you think the church can encourage reading?
There's so many ways that a church can encourage reading. Where do I start off? The church can start reading corners, start book clubs where kids are, at first you need to know how to read, and know how to write to do such things. So to motivate other children as well in churches, do community work and such events as book fairs at the church. And yeah.
Those are many ideas. I hope we've been listening. Those of us who are planning to have sessions, those of us who want the Children and Youth Unit to be a unit again and to be functional, this is where we really are able to come together to inspire, aspire, and to build fellowship with our fellow members of the unit. So I guess...
Can I just add as well?
Yes, by all means, do add.
It doesn't have to, when the church does such events, they don't need to focus only on the children in the church. They can also focus on the children around in the community as well, so that we can empower each other.
Of course, because the church exists in a community. And outside of that community, the church then is void. And I hear you. I hear exactly what you are saying. The church outside, the children outside the church are the responsibility of the church. Ooh, you were such an awesome person. Let's go back to Facebook and see what our friends are saying. I think we have reached our cap with regards to questions. I don't want to shut anybody outside, brothers and sisters. Within the next 2 or so minutes, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, please do share them. Otherwise, we are going to bring our session to a closing this evening. As you are gathering your last questions or your last statements, let me ask Sister Reikantse, do you have any closing comments for us today? Any parting words, any words of wisdom, just in closing your session before we see if there's 1 or 2 more questions for us?
What I would like to say, well, it's what I always say in my ending of speeches and motivational conferences, is that we all have different talents. And just because I'm a writer doesn't mean, just because I'm a writer and I'm given a platform, doesn't mean that when you are a writer, you won't be given a platform. So we should support each other and use all our talents and put them all together to grow stronger and become a stronger generation that will make history and make a powerful statement in the history books.
Awesome. Work together. We've got multiple talents. All of them have a space. All of them can stay on the same platform, and we can actually make a difference. Those are the kind of things that
because teamwork makes the dream work. So if we want to see a better tomorrow, we should put in an income, an input, so that we can't just be sitting there and expect other people to do something. So we should all do our parts to have a better tomorrow.
That has a responsibility. That is so wise. My closing words to you and to everybody else watching, those of you all in the CM intending to go to a university in the country, join Math Soc. It is home away from home, and I promise you will never regret it. It is literally one of the best places to help you with your transition into higher education. So to use this Reikantse and everybody else who intends on going to university in the country, join Math Soc when you get there. You'll have brothers.
Can you just repeat?
Have your back. Math Soc.
Math Soc.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay.
Yes. You all must become student society members. There's nothing like being in a new place, new city, and needing to orientate yourself around there. Siblings are there at the universities? Join the church. It doesn't seem like there are more comments or questions. Oh, here's a question. You are blessed and a blessing to all of us. Keep shining. Everybody is beautiful. Everybody is happy for you to be here. Everybody supports you. Everybody is rooting for you. Brothers and sisters who are watching, with whatever your talent is, whether it is in the arts, whether it is in music, whether it is in writing, whatever your gift is, know that you are encouraged and that you are supported, and that we thank the Lord for the gift of your life and for the gift of your talent. Sister Reikantse, thank you very much for joining us this evening. All the best with your adventures and your avenues that you will be endeavoring in for the rest of the year and for the rest of your life. We wish you all the best, and we wish that God goes with you, right? And that you become a fulfilling prophecy of Reikantse, right? So that now we have come to the end of our session. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. To bring about change, let us show ourselves one heart, one way. That is all from us today. Reverend Dutluleng, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Please could you close for us in prayer?
Modimo yo lorato le tshwaro o re leboga tshwaro yo go neileng yona mo bosigong jwa gompieno go nna mo dinaong tsa ngwana ga go modimo wa rona go reetsa le go tshegwadiwa ke molaetsa o neileng yena molaetsa wa botshelo jwa gagwe re go leboga modimo ka talente yo mo neileng yona ka botlhale jo mo a tswileng ka bona mme re o tswella pele go mo godisa mme o mo atle mo dilong tsotlhe tsa di dirang e nne thotloetso e kgolo mo baneng ba ba lekanang le yena le mo setšhabeng sa Aforika re a leboga modimo wa rona jaanong kwa bokhutlong jwa tsotlhe re le godimo re jaanong tshwaro ya morena wa rona Jesu Kriste loroto lwa modimo ra le kopana mo boitshepo di nne le rona jaanong le ka metlha e senang bokhutlo amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Reverend Dutluleng. Brothers and sisters, have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you, Mama, for joining us as usual.
Thank you, Mama.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mama. Thank you.
Thank you, Funis.
Thank you, Mama.
Bye-bye, Nana.